The reign of Henry VI was one of the unhappiest in our history. Long before it ended in the mighty clash of York against Lancaster in the Wars of the Roses, ordinary people had begun to grumble about weakness at the top and the chaos it might bring. Casting around for remedies, they muttered darkly of treason, poison, and witchcraft. Henry's father, Henry V, the victor of Agincourt and the English hero of the 100 Years' War against France, died young. Henry VI was only 9 months old when he became king. His regents ruled wisely in his name, but as soon as he was old enough to take charge, things began to fall apart. Military failures abroad, combined with an economic slump at home, to create a pervading sense of national crisis. Worse still, the king was overgenerous, allowing his closest advisors to line their pockets at the crown's expense. "This king is but a sheep, and have lost all that his father won," said one discontented subject, and would God he had died soon after he was born. Rumours spread of plots against Henry's life. One involved a red rose laced with a poison so deadly it would kill him within moments of inhaling its scent. Others had recourse to dark magic, melting waxen images of the king over a fire, or using an old red velvet gown of his to conjure his doom. Most of this has come down to us through the testimony of prisoners, turning on their co-conspirators in an attempt to save their own skins. But one account is unique, because it's in a plotter's own words. It is Robert Goodgroom whose voice we hear across a gulf of nearly 600 years. He was the molecatcher. In autumn 1438, he was in Kent, working for a man called Richard Croft, espying for moles in a garden. Seeing smoke billowing from a building on Croft's estate, he went forth to the said house and found the door of the same house fast shut. Wherefore I went to the window of the said house, and with a dagger opened the window, and looking into the said house, saw a little fire under a distillery made of earth. And there I saw, lying on a cheese vat in the said house, an arm and a hand of a dead man. What Goodgroom had seen was a hand of glory, the magical object long prized by thieves. Croft explained, "Take the arm of a dead man that has lain on the earth 9 days and 9 nights, and put in the dead hand a burning candle, and go to a place where thou wilt, and though there be therein 100 people, they that sleep shall sleep, and they that wake will not move, whatever thou do." Human flesh 9 days buried and mixed with a combination of 5 unnamed herbs was also good for making the worst poison in the world. And Croft sent him to the house of a local gentleman named John Sinclair, who was brewing such a potion. There had come out of the said pot a foul smoke and a great stink, Goodgroom testified. Sinclair was alarmed to have been discovered in his necromantic practice, and he swore the molecatcher to secrecy. There was no going back for Goodgroom now. Swearing that oath had made him forever a part of the conspiracy to kill the king. In January 1439, Goodgroom travelled with the other plotters to York to test the poison. At the Hart and Swan Inn, he saw a conspirator named John Liverton draw a small vial from his sleeve. He poured 3 drops from it onto a dog's back, and the said dog fell down dead. "Lo," Liverton said, "here is a good proof." The poison was destined for the 3 men that Sinclair blamed for the great destruction of the realm, the king and the Dukes of Gloucester and Norfolk. Gloucester had been prominent in the king's regency, but was now blamed for military failures in France. Norfolk, in his early 20s, was unruly and violent. The assassinations were set for Christmas that same year, the earliest date on which all 3 men would definitely be in England. The plotters returned home to await their moment, but in April disaster struck. Goodgroom was arrested, not for his part in the conspiracy, but for stealing from several parish churches. While he was in the stocks, he claimed that Sinclair sent a man to him, offering him 20 shillings to confess to the church breaking and leave the country without implicating his associates. Goodgroom refused. Instead, he turned king's evidence, providing the authorities with a detailed account of the treasonous conspiracy. He asked that his testimony be recorded in English, my mother tongue, for I understand neither Latin nor French, word by word and in none otherwise. He was taking an enormous risk. Anyone making a false accusation of treason would themselves suffer a traitor's death. Alas for Goodgroom, no proof could be found for any of his claims, and he was hanged, drawn, and quartered. Was Robert Goodgroom telling the truth, or was he merely a lonely fantasist? A small-time crook who wanted to dignify his petty crimes, even at the cost of a grisly death? Did he spin his tales of necromancy as a way of railing against the political elite? His testimony must have seemed at least partially believable, or the authorities would not have bothered to investigate. What is beyond doubt is the fear, felt by even the highest in the land, that in troubled times the dark hand of necromancy could reach out from the grave and pluck them from their thrones.